Man, it's good to be back. It feels great to be back in front of this camera in the new setup too, to bring you guys another video. On a less nice note, Atlanta Falcons football has been rather painful for fans recently. I mean, a gnarly blown 28-3 lead to Tom Brady and his easily despised New England Patriots, a sudden fall from grace to mediocrity, one of the worst defenses in the NFL, and most recently, the forced fallout with the face of the franchise, Julio Jones. After his negative feelings were unfortunately publicly revealed, Jones was shipped off to Tennessee for a measly return of a second-round pick and a fourth-round pick, signaling the beginning of a new era of Falcons football, one that I believe will become to known very soon as the Kyle Pitts era. Why Pitts? Well, that's why you're here. In this video, I'm going to dig into Kyle Pitts' film and some key Falcon statistics showing you why I think that Pitts is a more than capable fill-in for Julio Jones and exactly how he's going to fit into this Falcons offense. If that sounds interesting to you, make sure you stay tuned for the rest of the video. Smash the like button to show your support and subscribe so you don't miss out on more videos just like this one. But without further ado, I don't want to keep you waiting. Let's get into it. I'm definitely not the first person to say this, but Kyle Pitts is not just a tight end. Tight ends don't run like Pitts does. They don't jump like he does. They damn sure don't look like he does either. Getting the physical statistics out of the way, Pitts stands at 6 foot 5 inches tall, weighing in at 240 pounds with a blistering tight end 40-yard dash time of 4.44 seconds. And his unique physical makeup has turned him into one of the biggest matchup nightmares I have ever seen. Pitts' speed makes him too fast for linebackers, his size and strength allow him to overpower corners, and his finesse and route running ability help him tangle up safeties in coverage. Hell, even if you do get the drop on him, he will just murder you at the catch point. Just ask Ole Miss, who he demolished to the tune of 8 catches for 170 yards and 4 touchdowns, including this devastating grab with 2 defenders draped all over him. Not only can Pitts beat teams in many different ways, he can also beat them from many different angles as well. Over his career, Pitts lined up on the line, in the slot, flexed out wide, and even in the backfield, consistently torching defenses no matter where he was. I believe this aspect of Pitts' game as a versatile unicorn tight end will prove to be incredibly important and valuable as he enters the Atlanta Falcons offense. Obviously, the loss of Julio Jones leaves a hole in the scheme, but with his ability to line up in the slot or on the outside and still find success, I foresee Pitts stepping in and cushioning the blow while also providing contrasting upside in some areas. Pitts is 2 inches taller, 20 pounds heavier, and almost the same speed as Jones, whose 40-yard dash time 10 years ago was only 0.05 seconds faster than Pitts' was this year. It's also pretty safe to assume that Jones has lost a step or two at 32 years of age, so Pitts may be a faster, taller, and heavier version of Julio Jones. And while he will need time to gain the experience that Julio used to dominate opposing defenses, that's not a bad trade-off at all if you ask me. As I went into the last game of Pitts' tape, I was already convinced that he was an elite prospect and that he was indeed the right pick at pick 4, but what I saw in the 2019 LSU game separated him from the rest of the pack, and that's what I want to focus on today. In my mind, these next 2 plays are perfect pieces of evidence for my belief that Pitts is more than an elite pass-catching prospect. He is the elite pass-catching prospect. In this first play against LSU, Pitts is lined up on the line, and in this play, he is going to be covered in man coverage by Derek Stingley Jr., who was in the midst of maybe the best freshman cornerback season ever. Switching to the end zone angle will show you that Stingley was selling out to have outside leverage on Pitts, trusting himself to be able to break in towards the field if Pitts broke inside. The only problem for Stingley was Pitts wouldn't let that happen. You see, Pitts noticed Stingley's position, and before the ball was even snapped, he had already developed a plan to erase Stingley's leverage and gain some himself. At the snap, Pitts instantly makes a beeline to the outside, attacking Stingley's outer hip to get him to open up outside, and once Stingley flipped his hips, Pitts breaks over the middle to make the catch and an even bigger play after the catch. Because Stingley was already giving ground to the middle of the field with his leverage, Pitts knew if he could force Stingley to flip his hips and face the sideline, he would have both inside leverage on the route and a cushion between him and Stingley, created by the time needed for Stingley to reflip his hips and try and catch up. At first glance, this is a successful post route, but broken down, it is a masterclass in route running by Pitts. Normally, a tight end needs to rely on using their frame and their strength to beat cornerbacks, but through his knowledge of leverages and route running techniques, Pitts was able to beat one of the best cornerbacks in college football without ever coming into contact with him. Now, it's no secret that in the NFL, things don't often go according to plan, making the league the game of adjustments. Normally, whichever players or teams can adjust to the opponent's adjustments the best find the most success, and I mentioned earlier just how good Derek Stingley Jr. is, so I'll bet you won't be surprised when I tell you that he is one of those players that makes those adjustments. When Florida came at LSU with the same look that I went over in the first play, Stingley recognized the concept and made sure he did not make the same mistakes as before. Pitts is running the same route, and again, Stingley has him in man with the same leverage, but this time when Pitts attacked his outside foot, he stayed true to his alignment and he didn't flip his hips. This was his response to Pitts' success the last time, and now it was Pitts' turn to adjust or lose the rep. This exact moment is the make or break point for NFL players, where elite or great players separate themselves from the average or good players, and this is where Pitts proved to me that he is on the path to becoming an elite NFL player before he's even taken an NFL snap. After not flipping his hips, Stingley is able to get his hands on Pitts, but instead of trying to run past Stingley like he did the first time, Pitts uses his left hand to swat away Stingley's grab attempt behind his back. He lunges for the ball with his right hand and then brings his left hand back up to complete the catch with Stingley holding onto his waist for dear life. This is what makes Pitts so damn good. Yes, he's big, yes, he's fast, yes, he runs great routes, but this ability to make adjustments mid-game and mid-play, especially in response to other adjustments, is why I have no doubt that he will become one of, if not the, top tight end in the NFL. The one thing that many people will point to as a hole in Pitts' game is his blocking ability or lack thereof, and I can't argue that. Pitts is a physical specimen, but he lacks fluidity and push in the run game, and I don't expect him to make an impact as a run blocker in the NFL. However, this is a perfect segue into how Pitts will fit into the Falcons offense because while he isn't the best blocker at all, he won't be asked to be. First of all, the Falcons offense is almost completely built around the passing game. They have finished in the bottom half of the league in rushing attempts the last 3 years and finished in the bottom 3 in 2019 and 2018. Meanwhile, they have finished in the top 5 in passing attempts the last 3 years with a league-leading amount in 2019. With Arthur Smith, the former Titans OC, stepping into the fold as head coach, we might see a slight increase in the rushing numbers, but the Falcons roster is still constructed to be a pass-heavy team, and Pitts only makes that even more apparent. Recent roster moves only back up this idea even more. The Falcons didn't place much emphasis on improving the running back position this offseason, bringing in veterans Mike Davis and Cordarrelle Patterson, both of whom bring a lot of potential in the passing game. Also, the Falcons signed Lee Smith to be strictly a blocking tight end after he posted a 78.4 PFF grade with Buffalo in a season where he only caught 4 passes. Yeah, 4. So yes, Pitts isn't a great blocker, but being on a team that almost exclusively passes the ball and that just signed one of the best blocking tight ends in the league and a couple of pass-catching running backs means that he won't have to be, and that should be a scary thought for the rest of the NFL. And while he will not be asked to block, Pitts will definitely still be a huge fixture of the offense, especially in the red zone, which in past seasons has been more of a dead zone for the Atlanta Falcons. Last year, the Falcons ranked 26th in red zone touchdown percentage, only scoring a touchdown on 53.45% of their red zone trips. For reference, the highest percentage in the league was held by Green Bay, all the way up at 76.81%. Arthur Smith's Titans were also at the top of this metric, due in large part to his use of Jonnu Smith in the red zone, meaning that Kyle Pitts may very likely take on a similar role, one that he is very well equipped to when asked. Pitts is a monster in the red zone due to his large catch radius, crazy body control, and mismatch abilities. Over his years at Florida, Pitts racked up 31 catches in the red zone without a single drop, and he had the most red zone touchdown catches among college tight ends since 2019. Pitts will undoubtedly be super valuable to the Falcons in the red zone, and because of the additions of Arthur Smith, but most importantly Pitts, I wouldn't be surprised if this Falcons red zone offense shoots up the rankings this season. With Matt Ryan under center, Calvin Ridley a bona fide touchdown machine on the outside, Pitts in the slot or on the other side, and Hayden Hurst playing as a straight-up tight end, the Falcons seem to have everything figured out, and they could be a very dangerous team in the red zone this year. After several minutes of me raving about Kyle Pitts, it's no secret that I think he will be a godsend for this Falcons offense, Arthur Smith, Matt Ryan, and most importantly, the city of Atlanta. But I wanted to round out this video by touching on the key way that I believe Pitts will himself benefit from his time in the ATL. Pitts put up monster numbers in Florida, but those numbers were honestly limited by the QB play around him. Kyle Trask was polarizing and statistically amazing, but him and backup Emory Jones were no strangers to throwing hospital balls or simply missing Pitts in big opportunities. Matt Ryan will be a tremendous change of pace for Pitts, and I truly believe that Ryan's accuracy and poise will only elevate Pitts' game to another level. I mean, like he needed another level even. If I was able to get out of here, I would be walking off camera right now, believe me. In the end, Pitts is an anomaly. He is a nearly perfect, tremendously versatile prospect whose only drawbacks are the questions that scouts and coaches have when trying to figure out how to scheme him up and how to use him. I will promise you all one thing though. Atlanta does have a plan for Kyle Pitts, I can guarantee it, and teams better look out because when you combine Kyle Pitts and a plan for how to unleash him, all hell absolutely breaks loose. I mean, again, just ask Ole Miss, and in a couple years, ask the Saints, the Bucks, the Panthers, and any other team on the Falcons schedule, because I'm very confident that they will be able to back that statement up, and they will not have a very happy answer. Anyways, thank you guys all so much for sticking around to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, make sure you go subscribe because we have a lot of these videos coming this summer, and make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out when they do come out. Also, don't forget to smash the like button to show your support. Talk to me about Kyle Pitts too. I want to hear it all down below. I'll make sure to be down there replying to every single comment so we can have some nice football conversation. Thank you all so much. I've been Jack Smith from The Cold Hard Truth, and I will see you next time.